Hello, and welcome to the Domain Power Course. I'm your teacher, Morgan Linton, and this is lesson number 3, where I will be discussing domain appraisals. If you have not yet watched my first 2 videos, please go back and watch those. This course builds upon itself, and unless you are already an experienced domainers, you'll need those first 2 lessons under your belt to understand some of the concepts I discuss in this lesson. Well, this lesson is about one of, if not the most highly contested topics in domaining, and that is domain appraisals. What is the value of a domain name? In the domaining world, what may be a very valuable domain to one person may not be as valuable of a domain to another person. However, there is a standard metric that we can agree upon that are a set of qualities that most valuable domains will share, as well as a set of metrics that can set a system for scaling the price of a domain name. Well, you, as a domain investor or a domainer, have the responsibility of buying domains that you think will become valuable investments. And I'm going to tell you how to find domains that are valuable investments and what makes a valuable domain name. Before I do this, I want to pretense this entire course with what I just said about a minute ago, which is that a domain's value means something different to really anybody that you ask. And so the methods that I'm going to give you are going to help you find a range that your domain will fall within. It's not going to give you an exact value, but it'll help you determine if the domain you have is worth just its reg fee, or if it's worth a couple $100, or if it's worth a couple $1,000. Anything else more precise really is a lie. And that's where I'll get started with domain appraisals, which is domain appraisal services. And there are a lot of companies that offer appraisal services. Sato offers appraisals. Afternic offers appraisals. There are a lot of domaining forums like DN Forum and Name Pros that offer forums where people can discuss their domains and how much they think they're worth. And if you actually look at those, you'll see the huge range that people will suggest in a domain name. Someone may say a domain is worth only the reg fee, and then another person will say it's worth $3,000. And that's why this lesson is important, to help you really determine what your domain is worth and really what range it will trade within. And you'll oftentimes see when people are selling domain names on domain forum posts, they'll say, I want bids in the XXX range or the XXXX range. And that's because they know the value of their domain is hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. And I'm going to tell you how to determine that today. Well, the first place that you need to start is comparing your domain name to other domains that have sold. And this is similar to if you were to buy a house and if you were a house flipper. You would want to look at the house that you own and what comparable houses in the neighborhood have sold for, and that'll give you an idea of its value. So, once you've bought your domain name, either by registering it or getting it from a listing service, or if you're a little bit more of an advanced user using an expiry service or something like that, well, now you have your domain. In order to find out the value, the first place we'll start is the sales charts. And you can get this at dnjournal.com. If you do not go to DN Journal every day, then you're missing out on a big part of the domaining world. This is the de facto what I start my morning with every single day domaining read, and it should be on your list as well. On here you can find the year-to-date sale charts, and you can find out what domains have sold. Well, what you can do is search this list for a domain similar to your domain name. Maybe they're in the same category, maybe they have the same keyword. But this will help initially give you an idea of the value that you could be dealing with. Now, another site you can use is something called namebio.com. And if you go to namebio.com, what you'll find is you can actually enter in a keyword or a set of keywords and find similar domain sales. So you'll want to look here as well so that you can get really 2 opinions. It's like you're going to the doctor and you want to really get 2 different views of it. Well, you can look at the year-to-date sales charts on DN Journal, and you can look at the results on Namebio. Now, a lot of times they'll cross-reference each other, but there are chances that something on DN Journal may not be on Namebio and vice versa. This is a great way to get an idea of similar sales. And from here what I would do is then go on to google.com. So now you know, okay, my domain, similar domain names have sold in the $100 range, in the $1,000 range, in the $10,000 range. You have an idea of the scale that we're talking about. If your domain is a one-word.com and has to do with some type of transportation, you can look at cars and boats and trucks and trains.com and see what those sell for. It's unlikely you'll have a domain of that value, but say you have a 2-keyword domain like creditbureaus.com. Well, you can find out, well, what did creditbureaus.net sell for? What did creditbureaus.org sell for? And that can give you a really good estimate of what your domain is worth. Obviously, a .com will be worth the most, but .net and .org also have a lot of value, and you also have to look into if the domain has any revenue. That's where Google comes in. So what you'll do now into Google is actually just type your domain name with the .com, .net, .org into the Google search, and you'll see the results. This will help you get a feel for who is linking to your domain, what type of activity your domain is involved in, and a bit about the popularity. The next thing you'll do is in that same Google text bar, in that same Google search bar, you'll type in quotes, and make sure to do this in quotes, the keywords in your domain. So if your domain is buycars.net, you'll type in quote, buy, space, cars, end quote. What you'll get is a result of pages that match that exact phrase. And the number of results you get is very important. And you'll see when people are advertising domains for sale on DN form, that's one of the attributes that they'll call out, is that there are X number of unique results for this topic on Google. And Google is a search engine used by a majority of users on the internet. And so what I usually use is a metric of 1 million. I say if there are more than 1 million results, then my domain name or my keywords are relevant enough that there are people searching for them. Well, the next step is to look to the right and see if there are any sponsored listings. If people are paying to advertise their own services with those keywords, then your keywords could be very valuable. If you built a website on that domain and that domain ranked well for that keyword set, you may find that those same advertisers advertising on Google would want to advertise on your site. And that's where you can get a lot of domain value. So this, I know, is a lot to take in, and I'm just going to stop it there because there's a lot more of detail I could go into, but YouTube gives me a 10-minute limit, and I found that I keep running up against that limit. So I will have a more advanced lesson on this. However, just in summary, the basic way you can find what range your domain will fall within is go on sites like DN Journal, look at their sales list, look at name bio, search for similar keyword terms to yours or the exact same ones and see if it's sold in another TLD. Once you have this information, you'll know the range. Then you'll want to know how popular is your subject, how popular is your keyword. Is there a way if you built a website on this domain it would have even more value? And that's why you go to Google and find out who else is linking to your site or what type of partners did they have in the past if you bought an expired domain or an older domain name from a forum. And then what you can do is find relevant search terms. See if the terms within your domain name itself are relevant and are things that people are paying for. Because that means for sure if you build a site on the domain, you'll have paying advertisers. And this is a great way to understand really what range your domain falls within, as well as how valuable your domain would be with a website on it, which is something very appealing to existing users. Now, that's assuming the domain does not have any traffic or any revenue already coming to it. That can be for another discussion. I just want to get everybody started on the same foot with understanding a basic way to evaluate what your domain name could sell for. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in Lesson 4.